Man, am I late to the party? But I guess you can say the same thing about the Uncharted movie. Honestly, I thought I would have skipped this in theaters, which I did skip the week of release when it came out a week ago, or 2 weeks ago by the time I'm filming this. Everyone already talked about this movie to death. Okay, maybe not that much. More so it was relevant to talk about a week ago, but by the time I saw this movie and wrote this review, it's not. But that could also be said about the movie in more ways than one. Uncharted is of course based on the best-selling video game franchise by Naughty Dog about treasure hunters Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan, and that's mostly what I know about it since I never played a single Uncharted game in my life. See, this happens when you get an Xbox, when you don't really understand the difference when you're younger of video game consoles, when you don't really play video games that often. So for my brother, I'm pretty sure he'll ever use this for is Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption 2, and its sports games, especially MLB The Show since it's now on Xbox, and for the longest time it's been a PlayStation exclusive. While I'm definitely more of a movie guy than a video game guy, I know the importance of Uncharted to an extent, and if that seems like a weak way to say I respect the game series, it still blows my mind how some old people are out of touch. Like, I was at my softest place and I forget the context of why I brought this up. Yeah, okay, so I brought up The Legend of Zelda in a conversation, and she's like, "What's a Zelda?" I do know some things about the series, including that it ended like 5 years ago, but a movie adaptation has been in development for about a decade, I believe, with so many actors and actors entering and leaving the production. But it's finally out in 2022. Most people didn't like this movie, at least fans of the series didn't. From what I saw in a few reviews I did see where I was spoiled for some plot points in the movie watching them, I could understand how they talk about the cast members not being good portrayals of the video game characters, or the story being a copy of other action movies or treasure hunting movies. I was honestly going to skip this movie since it just didn't appeal to me, but a couple things played in my favor to go see it. One, since Indiana Jones 5, the third final movie, got delayed to 2023, this perfectly fit in the gap. Maybe not perfectly is the right word. And two, I was invited to see the movie by friends, and sadly sit next to hecklers the whole time, keep that in mind. So I thought, oh, why not? I did see many people say the movie is alright, and it wasn't a bad way to kill 2 hours. I'll give it that. I'm judging it as someone who expects less out of it and isn't even that familiar with the video game games other than a few things. The movie is directed by Reuben Fleischer, known for the first Venom movie and both Zombieland movies, and stars Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, these two are not like the characters that just googling the image, they don't honestly even look like a younger version of either characters. Unless I squint, I guess. But I'm keeping it in mind as its own thing. But they were clearly cast because I'm like, oh, I know who Mark Wahlberg is. And that's Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Sony wins again. And I should probably stop clapping. You know, I already give 2 sarcastic claps. You know, I shouldn't keep doing this, or otherwise it might look like a real applause. I did see the fan film starring Nathan Fillion, and yeah, it would make more sense if he was Nathan Drake. He looks and acts like him, but Spider-Man made money. So yeah, with that said, what's the movie about? Well, the movie is a kind of prequel to the series on how Nathan Drake, played by Tom Holland, and Victor Sullivan, played by Mark Wahlberg, met, which is their excuse on why the characters look younger. And kind of funny, since the movie was in development hell for so long, Mark Wahlberg was originally going to be Nathan Drake. Oh, how hilarious. Mark Wahlberg's old now, and he's probably richer than most people watching this review. Anyways, the movie follows Jack the bartender, Nathan Drake, with a troubled past where his brother Sam ran off from him when they were left in an orphanage to go exploring for treasure and lost fortune, promising he would be back one day, but didn't come back. Now Nathan Drake might make most of his cash from pickpocketing. He runs into Sully, who offers him the chance of a lifetime to steal, discover, and collect the fortune of the Magellan expedition, which explaining what that is about is not something I want to repeat, so let's just say they want hidden treasure, a.k.a. gold! They run into ruthless treasure hunter played by Antonio Banderas, who believes the fortune belongs to him, among his henchmen, including mercenary Braddock, played by Tati Gabrielle. Also, Chloe Frazier, played by Sophia Ali, is also in the movie because she's from the video games. And it's not like the movie makes her part of the film feel like, you know, an afterthought. It's just that if I didn't know she was a major character in general as part of the video game series, like, I'm pretty sure by the time I found out what Uncharted is, it's when the Uncharted The Lost Legacy trailer came out. I just question a lot more than I should about this character's inclusion in the movie, which could be said for the whole movie in general. Whenever I see a movie try to do a treasure hunt scenario and always have to either feel like, take it from, or just rip off Indiana Jones, I feel like what they miss is that the movies are straightforward, not self-aware in a way where it feels like insulting to the eyes, and also, they're good. I see there are movies that are similar, that do their own thing, like Romancing the Stone, which will get ripped off later this year with The Lost City. But until that happens, and maybe someone will complain, but it always comes down to those movies. This movie is no exception to taking for the Indiana Jones trilogy, like from the way it does air travel, a reference like, why does it have nuns. Why does it have to be nuns? Or just one of the characters, Shrev saying the other one is Indiana Jones because the movie thinks it's clever for referencing better movies it's taken from. With that out of the way though, I have no idea how to honestly compare and contrast this to the video games. I know a few things, but I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. But honestly, while I compare this to Indiana Jones, you know what it actually feels like to me? National Treasure. This feels like National Treasure, which is a sentence I didn't think of saying. You know, the Uncharted movie feels like the video game movie equivalent of National Treasure. It's the Uncharted movie is the bastard love child of National Treasure and Tomb Raider. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, that movie was a hollow Indiana Jones type film where it has its moments, but you remember it for Nicolas Cage and maybe other actors. Same here for Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Every actor does give it their all with these performances, and it does help the film be entertaining. Like, it is what you call a popcorn film. You don't really care about the story, which has so many plot holes, including how in the span of 500 years, no one else has seemed to come close to getting this treasure, but everyone does have a role to play, for better or worse, and everyone does bring this film to life with their, you know, two-dimensional roles. I don't know if I really have anything that much to say, though. At least anything new. It's 1 year out the other action-adventure film with recognizable names and nothing more. I honestly, after hours seeing this movie, I don't know what to talk about. Like, there are cool fights, the characters do have good chemistry, and yeah, there is cool stuff, like the pirate ships in the sky thing shown in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But what they don't show you in the trailer is all the sick parkour Tom Holland does, because of course he knows parkour. You know, he's a bartender. It was funny to me from all the movie heckling I heard during the film. Someone in the same row as me started applauding when Nathan Drake picked up the same iconic thing from the games. I forget what it was actually, because, you know, if I didn't know that was a thing going into it, that oh, that's an important part of his costume, I wouldn't care. It honestly adds nothing. But it was funny to hear this guy lose his crap over it. Honestly, I don't know if this has that much to talk about in terms of leaving the discussion among friends, but the movie is well paced. It never felt boring. Stupid, but not boring once, and I am somewhat glad I saw it at least once. There are better movies out there, and I was hoping I have more to say about this, but I don't think I can say this is a bad movie. It's not even like a mediocre movie. It's an alright movie that's passable at best, but it is bare minimum good, so I do have to give it a pass. But yeah, in terms of video game movies though, this is probably one of the top 10 best video game movies of all time. Right next to Detective Pikachu, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Angry Birds Movie 2. Yeah, those are the best video game movies to exist. Yeah, Uncharted is just not something I'm gonna, I don't know, look fondly back on. Like, I don't know, I feel like I said a lot of similar things to this and No Exit, and I'm like, I don't know, what did No Exit do that Uncharted didn't? And I'll say this, I cared a lot more, and I cared just enough about this movie. I give Uncharted a 6 out of 10.